Hey, it's Mina. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for joining me. I hope it's a lot warmer on your end because it's absolutely a blizzard in Toronto. I think finally winter has hit us, and the rest of Canada is actually laughing at us because we are stressing about how it is -12, while in Edmonton I think it was -40 this week. But hey, cut us some slack. It's pretty cold here, and it's because of the wind. Anyway, I'm gonna jump right into my January favorites, and a lot of these things I have felt that it's definitely made January a lot more enjoyable despite the cloudiness and the grayness. So let's jump right in. The first thing I like to talk about that has absolutely made my life super easy, especially because in Toronto when you rent out a room, it tends to be a little bit smaller, so I don't get to have all the furniture that I want, and notably it is a desk. A room tour, maybe in the future you'll see how small it is, and I don't have a room for such a table to do my editing, to do some work at home, and that's why I have this. It is a bamboo table that I purchased from Costco for I think $25 approximately, and why I love this is I can set this on the floor so I can work on the floor and have my back up against the wall so it's straight, or I could just, you know, use it in bed. But I also like this is because I can actually set this on top of my knee and actually have it right up against me, which is the perfect size for me. Everything is just perfect about this table in terms of measurement and fitting. Other details that I like about this is there are some slits at the top of this table where I can put my hard drive and connect to my laptop without using too much of the surface area. And also if I want to have a video chat with someone, I also put my phone here so I can do work and have them on the phone as well. This is an amazing buy. I'm so glad I finally got the chance to find the perfect one for me. The second thing I'd like to talk about is skincare. This month I haven't actually found any products that I particularly liked, even in my project pan. It's nothing that I would highly recommend just yet. I do have though is something that I had recently purchased that is from Muji. It's these unbleached cotton pads that I purchased. For some reason these feel a lot better on my skin because oftentimes cotton pads have those indentation bumps that I find it very coarse on my skin, but instead these Muji cotton ones are a lot softer and they don't have those indentations, and because it's unbleached I'm assuming that it's better for my skin because there's less chemicals that go into the process. And this is what it looks like if I would just focus, so you can tell that it's not white, it's a little bit of off-white. You can see some cotton grains into it, and I can easily split this into two because this is what a perfect one looks like if I haven't split it. So it's pretty thick. I also really like how thick it is because then I can split it into these thin layers here. I had done this one last night because I was putting on some toner, and it soaks up the toner really well and it applies it really well on my skin. Really like it, and it was only I think $2-3 for a pack of 180 sheets. And I do recommend, and I'll probably keep buying them from Muji at this point. The third thing I like to recommend is a book that I've been reading called Beating the Streets by Peter Lynch. And who is Peter Lynch? Peter Lynch is a well-known stockbroker on Wall Street. Why this book is great is because it's meant for almost beginner investors who are just starting out in specifically the stock section of the market. And why I like this book is because his book has a very encouraging tone, and he definitely puts in a lot of his shortfalls and also successes that you can learn from. I do have to admit that he does use some terminology that I did have to visit Investopedia a few times for. The funny thing is I learned a few of these things in my finance class in university, but I just forget, and I can't imagine someone if it's their first time reading about investments. These terms would definitely go over your head, so I highly recommend, again, Investopedia for your investing terminology needs or other concepts that you want to understand. Lastly, what Lynch does really well is he almost sets up a chapter or recaps a chapter with a bolded statement called Peter's Principles. What this is essentially almost a guide. If you have to take away something from that chapter, that would be the one to do. And most of these things are quite relatable and actionable. The fourth thing I'd like to recommend is a show that I've been watching, and I'm say that I'm a late adopter when it comes to shows, because this show, I think it came out last year. It's called Chernobyl, and it's essentially a 5-part series, 1 hour long each, that is produced by HBO. Why I thought this was an amazing show and highly recommend you to watch it is because in each of these episodes, they kind of overlap on each other as stories follow and parallel each other. While, say, a scientist is trying to figure out what is going on and how did it happen and how to solve the cleanup surrounding Chernobyl and its radioactive ness surrounding the area, we also follow the impact that has on citizens that are displaced because of Chernobyl, or the innocent citizens that were actually pulled from other areas to help with the cleanup, or even it follows the politicians that had to deal with this mess. I absolutely think that it was beautifully written to have reflected how everyone was impacted by this event. It's so beautifully shot. I can't describe this properly, but you have to watch it. It is an amazing show and I highly recommend it if you are a history junkie or not a history junkie and just like good storytelling. Lastly, I've been really enjoying the Alegria album because in December I had watched Cirque du Soleil, and I watched Alegria twice because I was super lucky. The first time was I took my boyfriend to see the show. The second time was a sales rep had invited us out for a show as well. So that was amazing and it's so beautiful. I'm so privileged to have seen the show from 2 different perspectives. 2 songs that I felt like every time I listen to it, it's like a whisper from a long lost dream. And the 2 songs is Alegria and Querer. Querer, I'm going to describe it, is essentially the song when there are 2 trapeze artists and it just starts out so dreamlike and it just builds up to such a climax. And I would say Alegria follows this same rhythm, and both of the choreography really complemented this music. So I think that I like the music and I would have loved the music just on its own, but the fact that I had seen the performance as well really brings me back to that point when there was just amazing acrobatics done in the skies within the tent and the big top. There's no way to describe it. It truly is very dreamlike, and every time I listen to it, I just feel so beautiful. It's so hard to describe a song that just makes you feel so serene and beautiful at the same time. You don't even need to understand the language because the language is not even meant to be understood. It's the way that the words make you feel, because Cirque du Soleil, they invent their own language between using, I think it was English, Spanish, and Italian, so some of the romantic languages plus a little bit of English here and there. Oftentimes we try to pay attention to the lyrics and dig into the meaning as to what the lyrics mean. But here, you truly see that the vocalist is just to accompany the beautiful instrumentals rather than instrumental accompanying the lyrics. And so you don't need to be limited as to how you can interpret what these 2 songs is about. It's all up to your interpretation. That's why I feel like it's so beautiful. Anyway, thanks again for dropping by for my January favorites. This is all it. I did a low buy this month, so I did not actually bring in that much products into my home. And that's it for my monthly favorites. Thank you so much for joining me this month, and I will see you next time with my other favorites in February. Bye!